Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Beyond Fulfillment Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Goulas of Easy DC 3PL. And this week, my guest is the founder and the CEO of Eat Intact, Dr. Amir Saberi. Welcome, Dr. Amir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. We're excited to talk to you. If you could, please, can you just tell us about what Eat Intact is?
Sure. So I think the best way of talking about Eat Intact and vision and mission all together is the big dream that I have behind that actually brand, which is envision a future where finding and affording truly healthy food product and truly whole food supplements is not actually a rarity, but rather is a reality. So let's make wholesome nourishment um, the norm, not the exception. So that's kind of telling in very brief that what's all about. Basically, promoting truly healthy food products and truly whole food supplements. I'll explain during the discussion that we have why I mentioned truly, because we have a lot of deceiving actually claims on the labels regarding that. So Eat Intact actually was born a year ago, and so it's all about raising the awareness for the people who really looking for healthy food products and healthy and whole food supplements, which is hard to find because the way that actually the industry is set up is that just give you the belief that whatever you can find in the market is the best, and that's how people actually have to deal with that. But we are trying to raise the awareness at the same time. If we can find any opportunity and gap in the market to produce the product that meet the requirement of the community, we will do that. And I can tell you the story behind that, but I just leave it to you. Whenever you ask, I'll talk about it as well.
Okay, sure, absolutely. And your background is you were actually a
Yeah.
corporate food scientist for about 10 years. Is that right?
My major from bachelor, master, PhD, postdoc, everything, and also the basically 25 years of academic and industrial experience in food, which is going to be a great understanding about the behind process of food ingredient, and that helped me a lot for identifying truly healthy food product and whole food supplements, which is really missing in terms of the concept that when you go to the doctor, they will tell you that, oh, you have to eat, for example, that supplement. But when you step out of the clinic, you have no idea which one of these brands and which one of these product is truly healthy or truly whole food. And someone like us, with the background of actually processing behind the ingredient, can help the health practitioner and also the holistic coach, holistic functional medicine doctors, whoever is working on that um, whole food concept and holistic lifestyle. We can help them to just complete the puzzle for the consumer, to get the direction from the doctor for what type of supplement they need, and then get direction from us that, okay, which brand and what type of brand basically is the best that you can find on the market for their purpose.
Okay. Yeah, and one of the things I noticed too, like on your TikTok and some of your other social media, you you don't pull any punches. You go right at them, and you expose some of these deceptive marketing
Yeah.
practices, and you call people out, and you kind of give like the behind the curtain look of the science. Is like, well, it says this, but it's actually used with solvents,
Yeah.
which are like harsh chemicals that can be harmful, but it says natural. And people like me, and a lot of people that watch this channel too, they're entrepreneurs. They
Yeah.
have families, they work a lot, they're in, they want to be healthy. So we're not food scientists, so like what it
Absolutely. I mean, no
how
one
do
is
you
supposed to know everything, right? But is all about raising the awareness and also getting that information. So what I noticed, okay, let me just one step back for the actually concept of the eating tact and why I started that idea as a business, because I'm always obsessed with actually healthy food products, and I've been dealing with the labeling and trying to find the best for myself and for family and friends. And one day I went to the Whole Food and I was trying to get the healthy bars for myself. I went through the shelf, more than 100 brands, and I spent 1.5 hours to find the healthy bars for myself. And I found that it took me a while to just go through the labeling and identify just few of them that were truly healthy. The definition of truly healthy is that those bars that contain only whole food ingredients. So after that, actually, I was thinking about this situation that if it's going to be time consuming for me, how about like normal people if they really want to get the healthy food products? So, so I identified two issues. Either people don't have time to go through the labeling, or they don't have enough knowledge to go through again the labeling to identify healthy food products and supplements. So I noticed that okay, for the first part, we can actually raise the awareness for the people who don't have enough information and they would like to go through the labeling. And for the second part, although they might have some knowledge, but they may not be enough. But regardless, they don't have time. So why not just put all these truly healthy food products in one online store for the convenience of actually getting access to that? So that the whole idea of the Eat Intact business was based on these two concepts. And then after a while, I was telling myself that okay, I can have interaction with the client and get some feedback from them, and hopefully I can come up with my own idea for producing our first product. And when I actually did my research for creating content for consumer and for users, I noticed that the situation of actually deceiving claims on labels for supplement is much worse than food products. And there is no FDA rule for that. And someone, if I as a person, I can decide to make any supplement product and just ask a contract manufacturer to produce the product for me, and I can launch it to the market, and then no one can stop me unless someone actually get sick out of my out of using my product and then report to FDA. On that time, FDA would come and inspect that. Of course, the labeling should follow the FDA rules, and but still, it could be really dangerous. So I noticed that what if we just focus on supplement versus food, which is the basic is same, because all you have to deal with actually whole food ingredient for making them. And then that's the how the eating tech actually was started, and we are still moving forward with a lot of myth that we have in terms of consumer perspective, and hopefully by raising the awareness, we can change the perspective of the people in terms of the way that they look at actually supplement. It shouldn't be drug. It should be whole food. And then we are dealing with a situation that we have to tell the people that what you want is not necessarily equal to what you need. So we have to actually change the perspective that okay, what you want is not the right one, so please focus on what you need.
Okay. Yeah, and oftentimes too, we see, I mean, particularly in the natural products industry, but even other industries, when big business gets involved, oftentimes it can be strictly about profits, and the mission or the doing the right thing sometimes
Yeah,
gets lost, right? And like you were
yeah,
saying, these quote chemicals or some of these things that are used are much cheaper, so it's more efficient for profits and losses. And I guess there's loopholes with labeling and what they can say and how they
yeah,
present it that
yeah.
it looks good, but it's really not good. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a great point actually. As a food scientist, I think whatever we set up in terms of food industry, and I think it's going to be similar for supplement industry, is that we always focus on the type of ingredient that is going to facilitate the job for us and to make the product in easier way and with the most or with the highest profit margin. And if you take a look at the ingredient, even that we, through the innovation, we make, for example, modify the starch, right? The starch itself is carbohydrate, is refined carb. And then we are using a wide range of modification to just make it better in terms of functionality of the starch for making a better texture or mouthfeeling, or, and most of them are not just for health. And the same case for supplement. Those actually additives that we add to the supplement is just for making machine work for encapsulation, make it easier for encapsulation and maybe longer shelf life, and is not for actually the health purpose. And that's kind of what I'm suffering from. And I do believe that as a food scientist and a food developer, I think we have to put the pressure on our shoulder, and this is the art to deal with whole food ingredient to make a healthy and at the same time delicious food product. And of course, it's going to be costly because the ingredient is more expensive. And also you have to do more development and research and development on that part, which is not based on the real demand on the market right now. So whatever we are producing, they are, or whatever the manufacturer are producing, they are selling that. So we have an expo for candy, for example. So, and I'm asking myself that, so candy is sugar, right? And then when you go through there are a lot of actually marketing about candy, and still a huge market and huge demand for this kind of product. And then dealing with, for example, organic candy or gluten-free, those terms that doesn't mean anything for most of the candy products, for example. And then, but people are getting deceived with that and say, oh, this is organic candy. Oh, I'll take it. This is healthy. And sugar is sugar, as we talked before, and it doesn't make sense. So, as I mentioned, a lot of myth in the industry, and I think it's going to take a while to change the perspective, because at the same time, marketing companies and overall marketing is trying to provide that wrong perspective about ingredient and food product. And again, I think the huge lack of information and knowledge is the main problem that I've identified so far among the users. Even people with high level of education, they haven't been told that this product that you are using, because of this ingredient is in there, because of the process behind that, and the same for supplement, are really not healthy, and then it's going to have side effect in your body long term. So that awareness, once we fix that part, I think the rest is going to be much easier.
Okay. Yeah, and one of the things too we look at, because you and I, we met at Expo East, which that show is just huge, right? A lot of attendees, a lot of booths. And if you look at the natural products industry and the organic food industry, let's just say over the last decade, right? Huge growth. Then
Yeah,
if you look at, like, in this country, the overall health statistics, I mean, the obesity rate is up something like I don't know the exact percent, but it went from like thirty
yeah,
percent to like 41%, right? In that same period. So there's all this, there's so much more consumption of quote healthy or organic
yeah,
or natural foods, but yet at a macro level, the health is just getting rapidly deteriorating. So do you
absolutely.
think that's a, like, that people think they're being healthy, but they're really not, they're being deceived by marketing?
They are definitely getting deceived by the marketing. Definitely. I think this is what why we are trying to actually raise the awareness by that. So most of the term that you use, there is no specific actually definition for that. And this is the vague area that the gray area that a lot of actually manufacturers trying to use that and abuse that, in a better word, to get benefit out of that. So one of the terms that I mentioned, as I mentioned in the initial part of the discussion, I mentioned truly healthy food products and truly whole food supplements. I couldn't find a better word for that, because when everyone is talking about their product is natural and healthy, and when you take a look at the product, one of the ingredient that mostly you can see everywhere is, for example, a natural flavor, right? And then when you take a look at the natural flavor, basically natural flavor is completely similar with the artificial flavor. Even when you're gonna actually participate in Expo East or West, so they ask you your product not to have not contain artificial flavor, but natural flavor is fine. So when we take a look at these two actually ingredients, so each one of them, including natural flavor, can contain more than 100 compounds, and mostly they are synthetic and chemicals. And but FDA actually let them not to mention the details of that, and then they can claim it as natural flavor. What is different between natural flavor and artificial flavor is that the specific compound that actually is responsible for that specific flavor, for the artificial one they make in the lab, but for the actually natural one they extract it from the actually fruit and vegetables. They call it plant-based. The source is natural, but when we do the harsh actually processing on that to purify it up to 99.99%, they both are purified actually compound, and then you mix it with over 100 compounds again to just make it stable and then make it applicable for different types of product. So this is something that you can easily use natural flavor and then highlight it on the package that, oh, no artificial flavor, but still, and then they claim that, oh, our product contains only 4 ingredients. So when you take a look at that, so 3 ingredient plus a natural flavor is going to be 104 ingredients. So these are something that they are trying to hide it, right? Because it's not going to be their beneficial based on their benefit. But someone like me who knows the process behind that, we have to actually talk about it and let people know that the only actually ingredient works in our body in the best way is whole food ingredient. So please make sure to buy and get the food product that contains whole food ingredient. The same case for actually supplement. So you can see a lot of people are talking about, not people, the manufacturer talking about whole food supplement. So basically, whole food supplement is, or whole food vitamins, the vitamins should be part of the whole food that we provide to the consumer. But what they are doing here is that 99% of the situation, they use synthetic actually vitamins, and then they mix it with the very tiny amount of a blend of fruit powder and vegetables, and they claim it as whole. Or they feed it to the microorganism, that synthetic vitamins and minerals, and they do some fermentation, and then they call it fermented whole food vitamins and minerals. So this is really deceiving. And then they charge the people and consumer double and triple. So this is exactly happening right now for multivitamins. And if you take a look at the supplement fact of most of the supplement we have on the market, you see that they have a long range of actually blends of fruits and vegetables, and that's gonna actually perceive as, oh, we have a ton of actually fruits and vegetable in there. But when you take a look at the amount that's in there, is most of the time is less than half a gram per serving. And we know that half a gram of 1,000 blends of fruits and vegetables doesn't do anything for you. So these are some actually examples that how deceiving is the labeling, and how we have to be super careful about the label of the product and supplement. So very short recommendation in terms of how to identify them. Always take a look at the supplement fact and nutrition fact and ingredient list. This is the best way to get some idea about that. So if we can actually talk forever regarding how to identify actually these type of healthy food products, but I was gonna give you some example that how deceiving it is right now, and then we really have to raise the awareness and keep talking about that over and over. And the more people actually know about that, the less demand we're going to create for those manufacturers and companies to produce this kind of product.
If you're like millions of companies out there today, Credit card processing and receiving payments on time in full has been nothing but a headache and a hassle month after month after month. Run Payments is here to change that for good. Run is a tech company and a payments consultancy, not just a processor. They make it a blessing and not a burden to move money in your business and save on the processing fees while doing so. The guys over at Run give you the tools and the expertise you need to properly accept and monetize payments. An entire collection of out-of-the-box payment platforms, gateways, and point-of-sale terminals, all under one commerce ecosystem, what they call the Runverse. Get in touch today with the code EasyDCP1, and they'll be ready to talk shop and run together with you. Wow. Yeah, that's eye-opening, right? Where you can basically artificial versus natural. They use the same
Yeah,
harsh chemical process to purify it. And the only difference is if you start with a small quantity of something natural, you can say natural
yeah,
flavored. And I always wondered too, because you see that on the label, natural flavors. Like, what does that mean, right?
of course. And sometimes in terms of the environmental impact, the artificial one is going to be better because they are producing that in more controlled way in the lab to produce that synthetic material. But when you actually try to extract it from the plant, sometimes it's going to be more or less environmental friendly.
Okay. So now clearly you saw behind the scenes as a food scientist this process and how it was being done. And that's where you got the inspiration to start this company. I mean, what was that process like where you see what's going on, you have a desire to change, you're mission driven, you want the best for people, you want to help others, but you're like, this is like a David versus Goliath type of story where, this industry is there's so much money in it. You see what's going on. Typically, the biggest offenders, it looks like, are the people with the most money and the most power. Like, what was the what was the process like to decide to start off and really try to change things, knowing it's going to be a tough journey?
So as I mentioned initially, because I'm familiar with the MVP, minimum viable product. So meaning that I knew that if I'm gonna actually just produce a product or start a concept based on what I like, is going to be difficult because it's about the story of making a key and then looking for the lock, or identifying the lock first and then make the key for that lock. So basically finding and identifying the problem first and then trying to find the solution for that. So I was initially thinking about that because in my previous company I found that this is not going to be the right approach. So when I identified that, oh, this is the problem, that there is a lack of information and lack of knowledge and also lack of truly healthy food products and supplements. So I created the MVP that was the website that I was talking about to just because making a website and setting up a website and then putting some product in there is not going to be a big issue. And then communication with the client and with the consumer actually gave me a great insight. And after that, for a specific supplement, because I noticed that, oh, for example, vitamin D that we just produced and launched that, I noticed that, oh, this is the best best type of vitamin D that we can produce and make it accessible for the consumer. But this is based on what I like. What can I do to just make sure that this is a consumer demand as well? So I took initiative and I start actually talking to the health store owners, 30 of them around me, to just confirm that concept that this is a real need in the market. And it was really surprising that most of them, they just gave me that in that perspective that people are paying for high quality supplement, especially whole food supplement. But the problem that I found was that most of the whole food supplement are not really whole food, they are synthetic. It's still mixing with some tiny amount of fruit powder and vegetable. And so that was the initial step for me. It was really challenging, and then I got kind of green light from talking about this concept. What was really interesting that I noticed within my talk with the owner of and manager of these health stores, and when I talk about the myth we have in the market in terms of the whole food concept, how they are dealing with that, how they are deceiving, and it was really eye-opening for them as well. So those people who's been in this industry for over 20 years, 30 years, they're still getting deceived by that marketing actually tactic. That was really kind of double confirming for me that this is the right approach and this is the right actually purpose for me for the rest of my life, to deal with that, to raise the awareness. And still I'm getting actually feedback from them, and by participating in expos like a Natural Product Expo East, and then we went to Veg Food Festival, and then we're gonna go for Natural Living Expo. Both all are actually really giving us a great feedback about how people perceive that. And the interesting observation for me so far was that as soon as people know the reality of the food, whole food product, whole food supplements, and the reality behind the food ingredient, and how they are actually producing the product, how they label that, they could immediately actually change their mindset, and then they were ready, and then keep asking me that, okay, how about this product, how about this brand, how about that brand. And that happened not only for the consumer but also for the health stores and owners. So immediately we could actually, since we are talking about the pain point, they immediately actually resonate with that, and they keep asking me if we could build the trust, so confirming that this is the right approach again. And I would be more than happy to continue that, because there is demand, but this is not a direct demand, as I mentioned. People don't know whatever they are taking is a wrong, actually, product, or if they nothing wrong with selling actually synthetic supplement, right? That I keep telling everyone that nothing wrong with that. But I think what is really important is that to give the opportunity to the consumer, provide transparency for them to just make the decision, telling them this is a synthetic product, this is the side effect, this is the process behind that, and this is the pricing, and this is the real whole food. And what is really frustrating me is that just selling synthetic actually supplement and sugar coating as whole food, and double charge and triple charging the consumer. So I hope I could answer your question overall.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, um, being that you're doing this and you're making a lot of noise out there as far as what these companies are doing and what's really natural food and what's not, and has there been any pushback from the industry? Like people say, hey, get with the program here. What are you doing? Just, we're we're making our money here, and you're messing that up. I mean, have you had any experience like that?
I I haven't had yet, but I really expect it. And every single day that I'm going to talk about this material, and because every single day you have to think about, okay, what's going to be the subject for today to just create some content, right? And I keep asking myself that how I can actually deal with that, how I can prevent that kind of actually pushback from the industry. But I think is inevitable at some point, because you really want to talk about what consumer needs. So, for example, when I wanted to prepare a table for my product and show the difference between, for example, the vitamin D we have with the rest of vitamin D on the market, so I purposely didn't put any brand name. Just I talked about their strategy, how they actually produce the product. So I try to minimize that, but I think at some point, people are gonna be aware of the situation, and hopefully we can do it indirectly. But if there is some pushback regarding that, I think we are living in the country that everyone is free to talk about their perspective about, and is backed by science. It's not something that I just came up with the idea to talk about it, right? But the problem is they are using the science as a backup, or as a background to tell them that, oh, this is whole. I mean, the point is that big companies are aware of the value of whole food concept, but dealing with whole food concept, producing whole food supplement, is going to be more expensive and is going to shrink their profit margin, right? So they found a way to just get around that and still mix it with the synthetic one and provide that perspective to the consumer. And I keep you updated in future if I actually got that pushback.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Now you mentioned vitamin D. That's your very first product you've produced as a whole food vitamin D supplement. I mean, I think a lot of us are aware, but can you just talk about why is vitamin D so important?
Yeah. So when I was doing some research to see that among these actually among these supplement, which one is more important, I noticed that based on the statistical data that's available, around 80% of the people are using different types of supplement, which is a huge number. And then again, based on the statistical analysis, I noticed that the highest demand is for multivitamins, and then after that was vitamin D. And when you go through the research and see the whole food concept and who really needs the supplement, I noticed that vitamin D and B12 are kind of different, because vitamin D we have to get from the sunlight, and during the winter, like in New England, we won't be able to get that enough source, and then through the food may not be good enough, so we have to get through the supplement. And B12 as well for vegan. So beside these two, I think the rest, if you are healthy and you don't have any special recommendation from doctor, if you're not pregnant, whatever, you don't need really other supplements unless you get diagnosed with something, and then a doctor actually would give you some recommendation. So vitamin D is important. So definitely we have to get through the supplement, especially during the winter. And I could find a whole food source of that vitamin. So if you ask me about vitamin B12, I don't have any actually solution right now, which I'm trying to look for that and find it. And but vitamin D, I could find a great source, which is whole food source, and is basically whole mushroom, and that we put under UV light. We naturally boost the level of vitamin D, and then dry it and grind it, put it in the capsule. One single organic whole mushroom and one single capsule. And if you take a look at the rest of vitamin D we have, they are either synthetic or isolated using mostly chemical solvent to extract that. And one thing that I didn't mention, haven't mentioned so far, is that the whole food concept is really is a big topic, because we know that based on the science, a combination of actually vitamins, minerals, cofactors, enzymes, fibers, whatever you have as a whole package in whole food ingredient, do the best job in our body and get metabolized in our body in the best way, and then they can have the best impact. So we have a lot of actually scientific data showing that uh, if you extract a specific compound from a whole food, they don't have that prevention effect that they thought. But if in the format of whole food, they could do the job. And for vitamin D, again, whole food is the best whenever you have chance to get that. And that's why vitamin D we selected. And I'll keep thinking about what would be the next one. And we have identified a couple of more, like vitamin C and omega-3. They are actually, we have a separate actually myth for each one of these products individually, and hopefully we can raise the awareness regarding this product and produce them and make them available in the market for the consumer who are looking for truly whole food supplements.
Okay. So, and you mentioned earlier too, like with the health food stores around you, like the reception's been really good, and not only the consumers, but even the store owners who are there because
Yep.
they want to provide that value to their consumers and their customers of being healthy. Like what's the overall reception been like out here when you're talking about this stuff and you're showing your real whole food vitamin D supplement? Like what's like I saw you at Expo, you had a very busy booth. Uh, like what's the overall perception been like as you've been launching this brand and growing it in all your travels?
So I think overall perspective is, as I mentioned, is really double confirming, triple confirming my purpose, that as soon as they know the situation and they are aware, they get something, they really get surprised and they want to do immediate action. So this is really meaningful. But the challenge that we have is that for in terms of the marketing. So and $1 billion a year being used for marketing some information that is against the reality, right? And then when someone like me is going to talk about it, it's going to be one on one or face to face actually talking about the people. How many times I do have chance to talk about this stuff to the people, and then the other part is the social media. So that's the most challenging part for us, because we cannot, as I mentioned, we cannot sell directly the product uh, because this is not what they are looking for right now. We have to change their perspective first, and then so that the question that I ask every single day from myself, that how we can actually approach more people and to be able to change, to give them the reality and the transparency, and then let them make a decision which one is the best for them. And that's the main challenge. But overall, I think really great and positive perspective about the simplicity of the how people see the value of simplicity of the ingredient, simplicity of the process behind the ingredient, and whole food concept. Pretty positive, and I'm so happy that we are dealing with the good stuff every single day, surprising the consumer every single day, and then get that the feedback and keep doing what we are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned too, right? And in any business, right, when you have a satisfied customer that results from something you created, right, that's
Yeah,
incredibly gratifying, right? So that's got to
absolutely.
help sustain you on this journey. And then, I mean, when you look at the overall industry and you look at like trying to change things based on how they are and the marketing and the money and kind of everything we talked about, I mean, it can be daunting. Like where do you see this going like over the next 5 years as you continue to grow your brand and spread awareness?
Uh, I think the trend is there, although a lot of attempt is trying to actually hide it or change the perspective in a way that, oh, this is the trend, that whole food, okay, this is the whole food solution for you, right? But I think it's only a matter of changing the perception somehow. But in next 5 years, I think it's really hard to predict that, but we got a great news and some new information from the trending information from the supply side actually east, that people are more looking for a food-like format of the supplement versus capsules and the other format. So it actually makes me more encouraged, because uh, this is a great combination of food concept with supplement. Although we do have gummy, for example, as a different format of the supplement, but everyone is trying to get away from the gummy because it's kind of combination of basically sugars and artificial flavors or natural flavors in there, right? And I do have actually a couple of concepts. I think in near future is going to be combination of food like supplement. This is completely a different concept, and people are looking for this kind of concept. But it's something, I think we are in the situation that it's just like a electric car 20 years ago, right? And even if you make the electric car, they may not actually perceive it as a good option. But I think is a long journey. We have to start small. We have to keep talking about that. And I do believe that actually certain people with the same belief can change the world. So it's based on the quantum physics that the certain number of atoms that get aligned with each other, once we get to the critical mass, they do the different job. So I think that's the way that I perceive that for future, to just persuade myself that keep doing. And definitely in future, we're going to hear more about the transparency and truly whole food concept of food and supplement product. And when the demand actually increase, manufacturer don't have any other choice to just change their the quality of their product. And as I mentioned, based on what I mentioned initially, we can envision that in near future we can have truly whole food supplement and whole food and healthy food product everywhere. It's not like exception, it's kind of normality everywhere.
Excellent. Okay. And then if people want to try your whole food vitamin D supplement, it's available on Amazon. Is that right?
Is available in Amazon, in our website. Everything is based on Eat Intact. They can find us. And then in terms of the information, we are providing content through our social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also X or Twitter. So trying to be in different social media. Um, Hopefully, we can actually raise that awareness more efficiently.
Okay. So if people want to get in touch with you, it's just Eat Intact and on any of the
Yeah,
socials, and then
we do
that
have
they.
exactly. We do have
Okay.
consultation on our website as well because we believe that food and supplement they are really close to each other, and we should consider them as natural medicine right now. And so, if someone has any question regarding any aspect of food and supplements, so we would be more than happy to help them through the consultation. If you have any question, just ask us through social media and our website.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, Dr. Amir, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today on the
Thank you
Beyond
so much.
Fulfillment podcast. Yeah, you've got a lot of great knowledge here. And yeah, if you want to get in touch with him, it's Eat Intact on any of the socials. And that's all the time we have for now. We will see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.